late October. So right now the fair value is at it as it was before the bull run, roughly, and the price is as it was 1 month ago on November 19th. And these DCAers, dollar cost averages, they can come in for a great deal now, or the whales can come in for a great deal now. And the legacy trend line before 8th of November is back in action. So that's the legacy trend line is now back in action. We have a shift back. The way that we estimated was about double up of what actually happened. So the FOMO mechanism might have been stronger than we anticipated, or the reduction in demand post big payday was a little stronger, was stronger than we anticipated. Either one of those, or a combination of those two. We would have liked to known that the OA had diluted the shares, but of course there's no promises. And had we known, probably people would have FOMO'd less in, and we would have kept our 0.47 estimation come end of November, and that would have hit the spot right on. Yeah, because there was a bit of reduction in demand because of the promise made, but no such promise was made to investors. But of course, some investors were disappointed because investors always want more. Yeah. So
right. Yeah.
Demand squeeze with more supply than anticipated, and people are afraid that other whales are selling. So yeah, of course. I mean, people are disappointed, even though there were no promises made. But I mean, investors always want more, so they're greedy.
Yeah, that's kind of understanding. If I could have had more, then that's great. But the other thing is, I'm not going to realize my gains until much, much, much further out into the future, because everything's staked. So if I don't, like, let's say I could have gotten more during big payday, but let's say my interest was a lot lower for the period of the 10, 15 years that I'm staked, I would be a lot more shitty once I figure that, like, let's say big payday happened, and let's say everyone got more HEX on big payday, in interest. And then, after maybe a month or so, when people are like super high and happy, like, whoa, yay, we made so much. And, there were probably would have been a lot of selling, but let's say people were super happy about that. And then people started to think about, like, hey, well, our interest rate is still really low. What if it could have been much higher? And what if it could have sustained for a longer period of time? Maybe, then I think the narrative would have changed, and they would have been like, hey, our interest rate is too low, and people would have been shitty about that. So I think if I have to choose between interest rate and big payday, I'm going to take the interest rate being high and being more valuable for me in the long run than I care about a big payday. Now that requires a lot of education, a lot of 2020 vision. Looking back in the past, it's easy to say these things, but I'm just trying to paint a picture where that interest is more important.
Absolutely, it's interest rates are for the long term.